Hello and welcome to another episode of Mamarama. I'm here again with Peter Kaufman of Rock and Lifestyle, and we've been talking about a lot of different topics lately. Our last show we talked about the crash on the Taconic Parkway. We've talked about a lot of different topics that relate to parenting and so forth. And I think today's show is actually very special in the sense that not only are we talking about something that's quite relevant and topical in terms of the news, but it also is a personal story for you, and that would be the story of Alaina Giordano. For those of you who may not know, Alaina. Sort of her story hit the news like wildfire about 5 or 6 months ago when it was announced that in a custody battle, the judge had ruled that her ex-husband had to take custody of her two children, aged 6 and 11, and move them 800 miles away to Chicago, where he had relocated. And the reason behind this him winning custody was primarily because she had stage 4 breast cancer, and the judge felt that, or according to the sort of parameters by which they make these decisions, right, the judge ruled that the children should spend more time with their non-ill parent. So this
and the fact that he was the main breadwinner.
Oh, okay.
Because
that was a major factor as well. Because
she stopped working for 12 years to raise 11 years to raise her kids, stay-at-home mom. So the husband could go to business school and attend his further education, and so that was kind of punished that got thrown back in her face. So the two things.
It's interesting. The stay-at-home mom gets punished for being the stay-at-home mom, in a sense. I mean, there's a lot going on here. You know, you have a split between two parties. You have both of them vying for kids. I mean, in a perfect world, you have joint custody where they split the time. You can't have joint custody when one parent moves out of state, obviously. So you have to fight for primary custody. So in this case, well, forget about this case, but in most cases, moms tend to be the one that judges rule in favor for primary custody. Moms are closer to their children. They spend more time with their children. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons. So, you know, in a court of law, you really have to prove that the other party is unfit to be a parent, and that's where it gets really tricky, because her unfitness came in the form of cancer. And well, why don't you talk just a little bit about her cancer, and then how you got involved in this?
Well, I remember Alaina told me a few years ago that she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, but she didn't want anyone to really know about it. She even on social media like Facebook, she never wanted.
Right.
Yeah, and so
that's pretty personal.
It is very personal, and I don't think it's really something you just want to announce to the world. I mean, everybody's different with that. So when I found out that she lost her children in this case regarding her and her ex-husband, I was shocked, and I needed more of the details. Like, you know, because I wasn't really sure what exactly happened. This was at the very beginning. And she was shocked too.
And I should clarify also that she's a childhood friend of yours.
Yeah.
So all of this goes back to before she became a public figure, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I grew up with Alaina in New Jersey, in Summit, New Jersey. We grew up together. We've known each other since first grade.
Right.
And she's always been a really nice, good human being with high, you know, I mean, she's just been such a nice person. I couldn't imagine that this happening, but there was not to jump the gun right now, but there was a whole other mess of things within the court case, like the ex-husband saying that, you know, this and that happened, with both of them getting in trouble, getting, you know, locked up in jail one night because, you know, she said that he physically abused her, and then the cops, and then he flipped it and said it, and then they have to, and there's just all this drama that ensued.
Right.
But
and you're saying that weighed in on the judge's decision?
I think so, because Alaina was sideswiped. You know, I mean, it was the cancer, and you even read it, right? In the court order, you saw that that was the main reason. It was one of the main. And people, you know, there are people out there that try to dispute that, but the facts are the facts. That was the main reason, one of the main reasons. And so, you know, she was sideswiped. She had no money. She was the homemaker of the family, right? And so
her ex had money to pay for.
We had a separate bank account.
Attorneys.
Yeah, he had a bank account on the side.
Right.
And he wasn't even living in North Carolina at the time when this all went down. He moved out of state to get a job.
Let me just ask a question here. If he moved out of state and he wasn't living with her at the time, what do you think made him really want to take the kids? What was behind that?
Well, I personally believe, and a lot of us believe this, that it was just out of spite. I don't believe that, now this is my opinion, I don't believe that he took the kids for a better life. I honestly believe that he took the children because he was pissed off at Alaina and just wants to ruin her life. And the thing is, this is not the first time he's moved out of state. He lived in Georgia about a year and a half or 2 years before, and he wouldn't even give Alaina the address of where he was living. There was no information.
Was he going to school?
He was working another job. And so, you know, there's this whole thing out there that, oh, well, he moved to provide a better life and all that. And
I'm sure people would think that. I mean, I would think that yeah, the reason behind him moving would be to have a better life for himself and to provide for his children.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to play devil's advocate a little bit because we don't know his side. He hasn't spoken, he hasn't really voiced his opinion, and that's probably wise in the sort of climate of what this case has become. I just want to point out that this case is, I mean, if you look for it on the internet, it's like listed with some of the top, most notorious lawsuits that have gone on in recent years. This is a lawsuit that so many people felt strongly about and really wanted to get behind in whatever way they could. And that, you know, comes from contributions, moral support, pro bono lawyers, publicity, a song that you guys created.
Yeah, to raise money for her.
To raise money. I mean, there are a lot of people behind her, and what this speaks to is, you know, a mom losing her children. That's a very strong, I mean, it's just a very, very strong message that, you know, that anybody seeing that would sort of empathize with, right, with her situation. But add on top of that, a mom with cancer losing her children, and you've really got a situation for which people are going to get emotionally embroiled.
Of course, and the thing is, the kids were taken away, so that's what's happened, right? Have we jumped to that point yet?
No, we're jumping ahead. So let's stay with this. So just to backtrack, so she was a childhood friend. She came to you. She told you what was going on. Mm-hmm. You had a connection to breast cancer, so you understood what she was going through.
My fiance had stage 3 triple negative breast cancer.
Okay, so you guys were just discussing this in a kind of a matter-of-fact sort of way, and it was your idea to go public with it to draw attention to it.
Well, yeah, but I wanted to know the facts before I just went out and created it, and that was really important. That was a huge part of this, you know, to know what exactly happened before just putting the message out there.
For example, you create a Facebook page about somebody and try to elicit sympathy and then find out that the person was smoking crack or something. I'm just saying that you don't want to go out on that limb not knowing that, you know, there's sort of the background is clean and sort of free of judgment, really. That's why you want to present her in a way that's as favorable as possible. So first you had to determine that there was nothing sort of there's nothing about that case that could implicate her in a way that anybody would look at it and say, oh, well, she deserved to have her children taken away.
Well, Alaina and I, it took about a week before I created the page. I even said, do you want me to create the page? Please send me the information, the legal information, so I can go over it.
Right.
And that took about a week.
Okay.
And then I set it up, and
then you promoted the hell out of it.
And then I promoted the hell out of it. But the thing is, you know, I was really thinking of the children and how Alaina felt. That was a big part of how serious this was to me, because when somebody has cancer, like because my fiance's situation, I was there during all the tough times,
Right.
the depression that kicked in, the uncertainty about how long you could live, and all that. And
not to mention the treatment.
not to mention,
which
the
is
treatment,
rigorous
the
as
chemo,
well.
the
Right.
radiation, and so I just put myself in Alaina's shoes.
Yeah.
That's really what I did, and I
Right,
thought, what is going through her head right now? She's going to lose the two people that she loves the most on the face of the earth, and they don't want to leave her, and they love her kids.